Hey family, welcome back to my chapter by chapter read of Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. If this is your first time joining me, I'm not a coach, I'm not a guru, but I am your manifesting mentor, and I'm a woman who walks the walk and who shares what works. And we're continuing chapter 11 today, and it's titled Space Time and Time Space. And if you've been watching the series so far, you know that this chapter is all about breaking free from the illusion of solidity and separation, and learning how to tap into the quantum field where all change begins. So today we're reading parts 4, and then in my next video, I'm going to read part 5. So in this section of part 4, the atom, fact, and fiction, Dr. Joe breaks down what science now tells us about atoms, the building blocks of matter. We're taught to believe that reality is solid, that the things we see, touch, and experience are permanent and separate from us. But the truth is, atoms are made up of 99.99999% empty space. They're more wave than particle, more energy than matter. And what determines whether they show up as solid? Our observation. What we focus on energetically and emotionally collapses potential into form. This is where it gets real good, y'all. Let's go. The atom, fact and fiction. To help you understand how the quantum field is constructed, you first need to revisit the possibilities that exist in the atom. When we reduce matter to its smallest unit of measurement, we get the atom, and the atom vibrates at a very high frequency. If we could peel back the atom like an orange, we'd find a nucleus and subatomic particles such as protons, neutrons, and electrons. But for the most part, we find that it's 99.99999, a lot of nines, percent empty space or energy, as you read earlier. Take a look at figure 11.7. On the left, we see the classical model of an atom that we were taught in grade school. But this is, in fact, an outdated model. In actuality, electrons don't move in fixed rotations around the nucleus like planets orbiting the sun. Instead, as you see on the right, the space around the nucleus is more like an invisible field or a cloud of information. And as we know, all information is made up of light, frequency, and energy. To get an understanding of just how small these subatomic particles are, if the nucleus of the atom were increased to the size of a Volkswagen Beetle, the size of the electron would be equal to the size of a pea. Like the kind you eat, vegetable. Meanwhile, the space where the electron could exist would be about 85,000 square miles. That's twice the size of Cuba. That's a lot of empty space for the electron to exist in. I would show you guys, but we know how that goes. According to the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, we never know where the electron is going to appear in the electron cloud. Yet from nothing comes something. This is why quantum physics is so exciting and unpredictable. The electron is not always physical matter. Rather, it exists as the energy or as the probability of a wave. It is only through the act of observation by the observer that it appears. Once an observer, which is mind, comes along and looks for it, the act of observation, directed energy, causes all the potential energy to collapse into an electron, matter. Thus, it manifests from a form of a realm of infinite possibilities and unknown to a known. It becomes local in space and time when the observer is no longer observing it. The electron turns back into possibility. That's the wave function. In other words, it turns back into energy, returning to the unknown and to its own agenda. When it turns back to energy and possibility, it becomes non local. In the realm of the quantum, mind and matter are invisible. Therefore, if Newtonian physics is the world of the predictable, the quantum is the world of the unpredictable. When we close our eyes in meditation and open our focus to infinite space, this is exactly what we're doing. We're putting more of our attention on energy and space, information and possibility, rather than on matter. We're becoming less aware of the material realm and more aware of the immaterial realm. We are investing our energy into the unpredictable and unknown and disinvesting our attention and energy from the predictable and the known. Each time we do this, we develop a deeper understanding of what the unified field is. Before we go any further, let's briefly review what we just learned. Take a moment to review figure 11.8. The three dimensional Newtonian world is made up of objects, people, places, matter, particles, and time. Basically, most of the nouns or everything we know in our external world. And in this world, there's more space than time. As a body, we use our senses to define this infinite space we live in, a universe of form, structure, dimension, and density. This is the realm of the known and the predictable, aka your 3D, right? That's called space time. He actually gives this chart, which I know I said I wasn't going to do this because it never works out. Yep, no, we're not going to do it. But the book on pages 236 and 237, he gives a chart breaking down everything that's in the 3D realm, space time, the Newtonian world um, of all matter. And then he breaks down on the other page time space, which is the eternal time, the quantum world, all energy. Cool. Because we experience the material universe with our senses provide us with information that occurs as patterns in our brain, which we recognize as structures. And it's through this process that things in our external environment become knowns. It's also through this process that we become a somebody, a someone with some things in some place and in some time. Finally, because we experience the universe with our senses, we experience separation. Therefore, this is a realm of duality and polarity. Now review figure 11.9. If the Newtonian world is a material world defined by the senses, in the quantum world, the opposite is true. This is the immaterial world defined by non sense. In other words, there's nothing sensory based here. There's no matter. Whereas the Newtonian world is based on predictable knowns such as matter, particles, people, places, things, objects, and time, this is an unpredictable dimension made up of light, frequency, information, vibration, energy, and consciousness. If our three-dimensional world is a dimension of matter where there's more space than time, then the quantum world is a dimension of antimatter, a place where there's more time than space. Because there is more time than space, all possibilities exist in the eternal present moment. Whereas the three dimensional world is our universe, meaning one reality, the quantum world is a multiverse, meaning many realities. Y'all watch those Marvel movies? There's the multiverse. Yes, get into it because knowing this information and learning this information makes all of those movies seem a lot more practical than fiction. It's fascinating. Anyways, if the space-time reality is based on separation, then the immaterial quantum world or unified field is based on oneness, connectedness, wholeness, and unity, non-locally. In order for us to go from our known space time, three dimensional universe, a universe made up of matter where we experience duality and polarity, to the unknown time space, five dimensional multiverse, a place where there is no matter, but instead light, information, frequency, vibration, energy, and consciousness, we have to cross a bridge. That bridge is the speed of light. When we become pure consciousness and become nobody, no one, no thing, nowhere, in no time, we are crossing that threshold from matter to energy. When Einstein introduced the equation equals mc squared in his theory of special relativity for the first time in the history of science, he demonstrated from a mathematical standpoint that energy and matter are related. What converts matter to energy is the speed of light, which means anything material traveling faster than the speed of light leaves our three-dimensional reality and turns into immaterial energy. This is why when we become pure consciousness, we people can have out of body experiences because their consciousness is now meeting the speed of light. Interesting. In other words, in the three-dimensional world where the speed of light is the threshold for matter or anything physical to retain its form, no thing can travel faster than the speed of light, not even information. Anything traveling from one point to another that is traveling slower than the speed of light is going to take time. Therefore, the fourth dimension is time. Time is the nexus that connects the three-dimensional world to the fifth dimensional world and beyond. Once something is traveling faster than the speed of light, there is no time or no separation between the 2 points of consciousness because everything material becomes energy. This is how you go from the three dimensions to five dimensions, from a universe to a multiverse, from this dimension to all dimensions. Let me give you an example to help you simplify this complex idea. It is complex. French physicist Alain Aspect performed a famous quantum physics experiment in the early 1980s called the Bell test experiments. In the study, scientists entangled two photons, causing them to bond together. They then shot the two photons in opposite directions, creating distance and space between them. When they influenced one photon to disappear, the other photon vanished at the exact same time. This experiment was a cornerstone study in the breakthrough of quantum physics because it proved that Einstein's theory of relativity wasn't completely correct. What it showed was that there is a unifying field of information existing beyond the three-dimensional space and time that connects all matter. If the two particles of light were not connected by some invisible field of energy, it would have taken time for information to travel from one local point in space to the other local point in space. According to the Einstein's theory, if one particle disappeared, the other particle should disappear a moment later, unless they were occupying the same space at the same time. Even if the second photon was affected a millisecond later because they were separated by space, time would have played a factor in relaying the information. This would have reaffirmed that the ceiling of this physical reality is the speed of light, and everything material that exists here is separate. Because the two particles vanished at the exact same time, it proved that all matter, bodies, people, things, objects, places, and even time are connected by frequency and information in a realm beyond three-dimensional reality and time. Everything beyond the material is unified in a state of oneness. The information was communicated between those two photons non locally. Since there is no separation between 2 points of consciousness in the five-dimensional reality, there is no linear time. There is only all time or times. Mystical quantum physicist David Bohm called the realm of the quantum the implicate order where everything is connected. He called the explicit order the material realm of separation. If you look at figures 11.8 and 11.9 again, it will help you get your mind around both worlds. When you take your attention off of being somebody, someone, something, somewhere, in some time, and you become nobody, no one, no thing, nowhere, in no time, you are becoming pure consciousness. Your consciousness merges with a unified field, which is made only of consciousness and energy, where you connect to the self organizing consciousness of everybody, everyone, everything, everywhere, and every time. Thus, as you surrender as an awareness without your senses into this unified field of oneness, where there is no separation, and you keep going deeper into the void of blackness because nothing physical exists there, you as a consciousness become less separate from the consciousness of the unified field. If you can keep becoming more conscious and aware of it and keep paying attention to it, you are investing your energy in it and your attention directly at it. Thus, as you keep moving toward it, you will feel less separation and more wholeness. Finally, since only the eternal present moment exists in the unified field because there is no linear time, only all time, The consciousness and energy of the unified field that is observing all matter into form is always in the present eternal moment. Therefore, in order for you to connect and unify with it, you will have to be completely in the present moment as well. If you review figure 11.10, it shows you how you can collapse your own separation and individual consciousness to experience the oneness and wholeness of the unified field. One last point about the speed of light. In this realm of the material world, visible light is a frequency based on polarity, electron, positrons, photons, and so on. If you look ahead a bit at figure 1111, according to the scale, approximately one third of the way up from the slowest frequency is where the division of light takes place. Above this wave or frequency is where matter goes from form to energy and singularity. And below this frequency are division and polarity. When the division of light takes place, photons, electrons, and positrons come into being because the visible light field holds the information template of matter as organized frequency and patterns of light. This division of light is where the Big Bang occurred, where singularity became duality and polarity, and where the universe eventually appeared as organized information and matter. That's why this void is eternal blackness. There is no visible light. Because matter vibrates at such a slow frequency, to enter the time space dimension or the unified field, you can enter as a body or matter, so you must become no body. I'm sorry. Because matter vibrates at such a slow frequency, to enter the time space dimension or the unified field, you can't enter as a body or matter. So you must become no body. You can't take your identity, so you're going to have to become no one. You can't take things, so you must become no thing. You can't be somewhere, so you're going to have to get to nowhere. Finally, if you're living by a familiar past or predictable future where time appears linear, to get to the place of time space, you're going to have to experience no time. How do you do this? You keep placing your attention on the unified field, not with your senses, but with your awareness, not with your senses, but with your awareness. So when you're in meditation, you're not feeling for how your body feels. You're literally placing your awareness on the space around space. Just the idea of it is awareness. You're aware of it. Keep that in mind. As you change your consciousness, you raise your energy. The more you become aware of this invisible field, the more you're moving further away from the separation of matter and closer to oneness. Now you're in the quantum or the unified field. This is the realm of information that connects everybody, everyone, everything, everywhere, and every time. So, if this work speaks to you, I invite you to continue the journey. We're moving on to part 5, which is the unified field, becoming everyone, everybody, everything, everywhere, in every time. And we're going to go over the space, time, space meditation. Um, Stay tuned for the next video.